Hey guys, my name is Moon and welcome back for more Umineko When They Cry. So, last episode, things got very real, right? The situation is getting intense. Maria said that she saw Beatrice. Beatrice gave her an umbrella, she said, and also a letter. And then when Maria was reading the letter last time, she had a very different voice, right? She was not her usual self, right, when she was reading that. And everyone didn't believe the letter at first, but afterwards, yeah, it was, they were very tense, right? So let's continue and let's see what happens today. So the strange letter that the witch had entrusted to Maria wiped all memories of dinner from our minds. Maria was repeatedly barraged with questions by Aunt Rosa and the other parents, and became increasingly ill-tempered when they refused to believe her. If we kids tried to butt in, they'd probably ignore us. Our parents were all stirred up, firing back and forth about the gold and the distribution of the assets, completely forgetting that we were even there. I had already guessed they'd been talking like this in the shadows. I mean, like the letter is pretty much threatening the whole inheritance, right? So that's why they're like this right now. But I hadn't thought that they'd be so blunt. It gave all of us kids a considerable shock. From what we could overhear, all the parents wanted more money as soon as possible. Back and forth about grandfather's inheritance. Back and forth about the distribution of gold if it was found. About advance payments and cash. It was so despicable I could hardly bear to watch, even though one of them was my father. It looked like Jessica felt the same way. We left our seats without being asked to and went to hang out somewhere well away from our parents.
なるほどな。じいさまが飯の席にも顔を出したくない理由がよーくわかったよ。うちの親たちにはすっかり幻滅だぜ。金だの遺産だの。よくもまああそこまで大っぴらに。
Frudo, they're so greedy, man.
俺の場合はクソ親父に幻滅しきってるからよ。これ以上評価の下がりようがないぜ。
そんなの私だって同じだぜ。しかし、今夜のには呆れたぜ。心底呆れたぜ。
Jessica looked down at the floor, irritated. She was always talking about how bad her parents were, but maybe she hadn't really felt that way deep inside. The depths of Jessica's shock made that clear.
未成年の君たちはご両親に養育してもらってるからわからないだろうけど。
But I mean, you could argue with George right here that he is kind of correct. That for the kids, they don't really care about money, at least right now, because for them, yeah, they're not really in trouble or anything like that, right?
お金を得るというのは単純な綺麗事じゃないよ。
But yeah, it's kind of despicable though, as well as Butler said earlier. Them just rambling about all of this money, and their grandfather is like that, right? And Jessica saying that, oh, I guess that's why grandfather wouldn't come out and eat with us, is because this is gonna be the conversation all the time, right? The assets, the inheritance, all of this.
未成年である今にそれを理解しろとは言わない。
But as George is much more older, I guess he understands what the parents are doing.
でもご両親なりに何かの努力をしていることだけは認めてあげてほしいな。
やれやれ。ジョージの兄貴は人間ができてるぜ。
But yeah, George is much more older. He's not a student anymore. He's working, right, with his dad, basically.
ジョージ兄さんは社会人になってバリバリ働いてるけどよ。
Yeah, see? A full-fledged member of society already.
金とか財産とか、そういう話になったら、うちの親父たちみたいに強欲むき出しのハゲタカになれるってのかよ。
自分だけの話だったらそんなことはしたくないよ。でも家族や社員、部下やその家族の生活を背負ったら戦わなければならない時もあるかもしれない。
私はそんな戦い嫌だぜ。小さまの遺産がどうのこうのなんて話、ヘドが出るぜ。
Jessica pretended to spit violently. That a harsh reaction made the depths of her pain very clear.
もう、この話はやめようぜ。じい様の隠し黄金がどうのこうの、財産だ遺産だって話は、親たちの問題で俺たちの問題じゃないさ。
僕も同感だよ。せめて気を利かせて、親たちの話し合いを邪魔しないのが子供の務めだと思うね。
Yeah, at this situation, you guys should just leave.
なんだか面白くねえぜ。
Everyone knows the phrase, adults are filthy. What we had now seen that for ourselves, and that really did give us a considerable shock. George Aniki was now pretty much an adult, and I'd already been disillusioned with my dad, so the shock wasn't that big for us. But Jessica seemed to be taking it hard. Apparently she'd received a bigger blow than I thought. She always talked badly about her parents, but it looks like she hadn't changed at all on the inside. Even now, she's still a pure-hearted, delicate person who can't doubt others. I'm sure she respected her parents as much as anyone else does. And her parents started raging about going money, inheritance, my money. Right in front of all of the other parents and the children. So it's no surprise she received such a shock from hearing that.
ジェシカちゃん、どうかお父さんとお母さんのことを嫌いにならないで。理解しろとまでは言わないから、せめてどうか嫌いにならないであげて。
わかってるよ。少し放っておいてくれよ。
6 years ago, I would have kept taunting Jessica even after she got all dejected. But I guess I really have grown over the last 6 years. But honestly though, like if you look at money, right? It's always the cause of problems, honestly. Like it's not bad to have money. It's good to have money for a sense of security, right? But when it comes to like this situation, billions, honestly, billions of yen in this one, yeah, millions of dollars, billions of yen. It's just overwhelming and annoying, right? It's way too much is what I'm saying. I realize it'd be better to leave Jessica alone right now. Jessica suddenly looked away sulkily and left the parlor. She probably wanted to be alone for a while. I could do nothing but wordlessly watch her back as she left.
そういえば、マリアちゃんはどこに行ったんだろう。
She's probably looking for Beatriz.
多分、まだ肖像画の前でいじけてるんだろうぜ。
Maria truly looked up to witches, and she'd expected that coming in direct contact with Beatriz and receiving the letter as proof would surprise everyone and make them happy. However, the adults had doubted its authenticity, thoroughly bombarding Maria with questions and refusing to accept her story. But yeah, Maria cannot create this letter, for example, right? She's what, 9 years old? She cannot create something like that. Even for me, it wasn't hard to imagine how much that must have hurt Maria. We couldn't speak to Maria or to Jessica. In the end, George Aniki and I just abandoned ourselves to the sound of the falling rain in the dark night.
台風はどんな感じなんだろうね。
Yeah, you can see George changing the subject here.
ニュースをやってないかな。
George Aniki started walking over to the corner of the parlor where the television was. He hadn't called me over, and I really couldn't have cared less where the typhoon was on the sea now. So without going over to the television, I loitered around.
そんなに風は出てなさそうだけど、海の上はひどいのかしらね。天気予報では暴風警報も聞いてたんだけど。
But yeah, Kyrie is not really arguing when it comes to this stuff, right? Yeah, she's like much more calmer, I suppose.
キリエさんか。大人たちの積もる話はどんな感じなんすか?
She seemed to catch the sarcasm because when you look at it, Hideyoshi is always involved when it comes to talks like this, right? But Kyrie, she was there, but she was not very vocal, right? Kyrie-san shrugged.
この胃の痛くなる話は徹夜で続くのかしら。嫌になるわ。
まあ、 せいぜいよろしく。じい様の財産分配について、ハゲタカごっこをお楽しみくださいってんだ。
Like she only got vocal when they were talking, right? When Kraus talked about the problems with Rudolph. That was it, right?
最低の気分だぜ。
それに関しては同感よ。バトラ君みたいに席が外せるなら、私もそうしたいわ。でもそうもいかない。たとえ発言権がなくてもね。パートナーも大変よ。
Kirei-san took a deep breath, smiling bitterly. That's right. They probably wouldn't let Kirei-san speak, since she only married into the family. Still, as Dad's partner, she had no choice but to stay by his side and support him. She probably had to bear the full brunt of this mental pressure much more than me. I wasn't going to apologize, but realizing that I'd spoken too harshly, I cut the sarcasm for the time being.
どんな感じなんすか？相変わらず、謎の魔女ベアトリーチェの話題で持ちきりですか？
まあね。あの人たちは、おじい様が亡くなった時の遺産分配について、兄弟4人で話をまとめようと、ずっと密約を重ねてきた。そこへ未知の5人目が現れて、話をややこしくしようっていうんだから、穏便な話なわけもないわ。互いを罵り合ったり、かと思えば共闘しようってことになったり。夏日姉さんでなくても頭痛がしてくるところよ。
On the other hand, they all want a larger portion than the other siblings, so they're all rivals. But on the other hand, what it goes, by anyone, but on the other hand, they don't want 1 yen to be snatched up by anyone other than the siblings, so they're also allies. So basically what they're saying is, they want to have more money, but only throughout the family is what they're saying, right? They don't want to give it to anyone else. For example, the servants, right? The servants could take the gold. They don't want that. I hadn't been told the details, but the siblings were apparently discussing on how to protect their shares under various situations. Setting up ceasefire agreements and rules to prevent anyone from getting an unfair advantage, even preparing to resort to legal action if absolutely necessary. That they would go this far to preserve their shares was so beyond disgusting that you just had to acknowledge their resilience.
ってことは、さしずめ。ベアトリーチェはじい様からの資格ってとこですかね。自分抜きで遺産の分配なんて話を勝手に進めてた息子たちに、一泡吹かせたかったんだろうぜ。
何者かしらね、ベアトリーチェって。自称してることが全て本当なら、今日まで誰にも知られずにいた謎の人物で、しかもおじい様の隠し黄金の存在を知っていて、その上当主の指輪まで委ねられている。相当に信頼された人物ね。
さすがにほうきにまたがった魔女だとは思わないっすけど。でも、魔女と呼ぶに値する怪人物であることは間違いないっすね。
マリアちゃんがそのあたりのことを詳しく話してくれればいいのだけど、みんな小さい子にがっつきすぎだわ。すっかり怯えてしまって、聞けるものも聞けなくなってしまった。あの人たち、北風と太陽とか読んだことないのかしら。
確かなのは、マリアがベアトリーチェと名乗る人物から手紙を受け取ったこと。自分で現れて直接話せばいいものを、手紙を託して今もどこかに身を潜めているっていう、シャイな怪人物ですけどね。
ねえ、バトラ君。ベアトリーチェなんて人物が本当にいると思う？
さあ。あくまでも偽名じゃないっすかね。 じい様の代理人として、その妄想の中の魔女の名を名乗ることを許された、とか。
そうじゃなくて。
Okay.
今この六軒島には全部で18人いるの。
18 people.
19人目が存在すると思う？
Maybe. Are there really a full 18 people in this island? I mean, we counted it last time, right? 18. Wondering about that, I began counting on my fingers, and it really did come out to that many.
19人目が存在すると思うって。どういう意味ですか？
言葉通りの意味よ。マリアちゃんに傘を貸した人物は私たち18人の中にはいないらしい。なら19人目がいて、その人物がマリアちゃんに傘を貸したと思うのが妥当じゃない？
A 19th person, though.
ま、そうなりますね。
ならその人物は今どこにいるの？少なくとも雨が降り出した瞬間には島にいた。そしてその後はどんどん天気は悪化して、とても船なんか出せない状態。となればその人物はまだ島の中にいて、どこかで雨宿りをしていなくてはならない。私たち誰の目にも触れずね。
確かに。俺たちは屋敷やゲストハウスの中を勝手にうろつき回ってましたが、誰も19人目なんかには会ってないわけですよね。でもまあ、これだけの広さのある島ですし。
But the island, yeah, is very huge, right? And not fully explored anyways.
屋敷やゲストハウス以外に雨宿りできるところだってあるのかも。
And with Kinzo being like maybe, yeah, a little bit, yeah, secretive guy, right? Who knows? At about this time, I began to realize what direction Akira-san's suspicions were taking us in. Akira-san was denying that a 19th person existed. Beatriz was one of us 18. So yeah, maybe one of them is pretending to be Beatriz. But who though? Everyone was here, right? Except Kinzo, right? Imagine if Kinzo dressed up as Beatriz and gave the umbrella to Maria. In other words, she thought someone we knew well was tricking us.
ベアトリーチェが自称する通りなら、その人物は間違いなく最高の賓客よ。おじい様が信頼する最高の腹心。そんな人物をおじい様が歓待しないわけがない。お屋敷に迎え入れないわけはないのよ。でも私たちは誰も見ていない。
待ってくださいよ。それはちょいと請求な推理じゃないですか？確かに誰の目にも触れてはいないけれど、だからって19人目を否定することにはならないんじゃないですか？何かの理由があってこっそり上陸してずっと隠れているのかも。悪魔の証明ってやつっすよ。
But the thing is, for this island though, right? It's not like it's protected by guards or anything, right? For example, the beaches there, right? If someone landed there, who would know? Right?
いることを証明するのはたやすい。ベアトリーチェってやつが俺たちの前に現れて挨拶すりゃ解決する。でも19人目がいないことを証明するのは不可能っすよ。
バトラ君の推理の仕方は悪くないわ。現在の状況では19人目の存在を認めるにも否定するにも情報が足りない。でもね、チェス盤をひっくり返して考えると、ほぼ19人目はありえないって断言できちゃうのよ。
Spin the chessboard around was one of Kirie-san's favorite phrases. I've been influenced by those words and use them myself from time to time. When you get stuck trying to find a move in chess or shogi, then by spinning the board around and looking at everything from your opponent's standpoint, you can often see a strategy that will give you the upper hand. It means turning things around and putting yourself in your opponent's shoes.
いい？仮に19人目の人物としてベアトリーチェが実在したとして、その人物は誰にも知られることなくこっそりとこの島に上陸し、ずっと隠れていた。何かの理由があってね。ならどうしてわざわざ姿を現してマリアちゃんに手紙を渡したの？
It really was a contradiction. If they had some reason for hiding themselves, then they should have stayed hidden the whole time. But even so, they had appeared openly in front of Maria. I guess.
それは、ほら、マリアも言ってた。メッセンジャーにされたって言ってたじゃないですか。マリアが一番年下で素直そうだったからじゃ。
メッセンジャーなんて必要なの？手紙を親族会議の席上に送りたかったら郵送すればいいだけの話よ。4人の兄弟全員に郵送すれば黙殺することもできない。
True, yeah. It would be much more believable if the siblings got it right.
手紙を持参してこっそり手渡す理由がないのよ。
確かになんだかおかしな話っすね。
そもそもベアトリーチェが存在していて、その存在をアピールしたいならみんなの前に堂々と姿を現せばいいだけの話。
But yeah, imagine though, right? For example, they were eating their dinner and then Beatrice suddenly just showed up in front of all of them. Dude, that would be so spooky, right?
なのに現れず、マリアちゃんという小さな子を通しておぼろげな輪郭だけでその存在を主張しようとする曖昧さ、矛盾。もっと考えて。マリアちゃんの前に姿を現し19人目の存在を印象づけるという点と、にもかかわらず今この瞬間も私たちの前に姿を現さず隠れ続けている点、これらの矛盾、これを念頭に置いた上でチェス盤をひっくり返すの。つまり19人目の人物としてベアトリーチェがいると印象づけたい人物の目論見は何かよ。
姿を隠したい人物ならその存在をアピールするわけがない。そして姿を現したい人物なら手紙を託すなんて遠回しをするわけがないってことは。
簡単よ。ベアトリーチェは18人の中にいるのよ。だからこそ18人以外の人物が存在するような幻想を作り出しているのよ。これ見よがしな19人目のアピール。それで得をするのは姿を潜めた19人目じゃない、すでにいる18人の方なのよ。もちろんこの推理は穴だらけ。いくつかの前提がひっくり返るだけですぐに崩れる脆いものだけど、私はほぼ間違いないと見てるわ。
This is starting to feel pretty creepy. Yes, it really is. Someone had lent Maria the umbrella and handed her the letter. Supposedly none of the 18 did this. And yet Beatrice was hidden amongst the 18. Was this person planning, or what was this person planning? Hiding their true form and pretending to be Beatrice.
マリアちゃんの自作自演も疑ったんだけど、文章の内容が非常に手が込んでて、マリアちゃんが自前で用意したとは考えがたい。
True, it's very what do you call this? Very specific, very complicated. Then Maria would write it on her own like that, unless she's maybe something like Rika from Higurashi, right?
でもマリアちゃんが何者かと共謀している可能性も否定できないわ。
Or maybe she is possessed. Maybe something like that.
おいおい、マリアは9歳のお子様だぜ。誰と何を共謀するってんだよ。しかも愚直で真面目で素直なあの性分だぜ。
ええ、私もマリアちゃんの性分はよく理解しているわ。でも だからこそあり得ると思うの。魔女に憧れ、その存在を盲信している夢見がちな少女。そこにベアトリーチェと名乗る人物が現れて魔女だと名乗ったら、彼女はそれを大喜びで鵜呑みにして信じるんじゃないかしら。
つまりあの肖像画のごついドレスを着て変装すればマリアを騙すことは難しくないと。
その論法になっちゃうと、私たち女性陣はみんな疑われちゃうことになるんだけどね。
True. Yeah, if that's the case, every single woman in this place would be the suspect.
とにかくマリアちゃんが何者に出会ったのか、それの詳細を聞くことがこの謎を解く一番にして最も身近な鍵なのよ。
Honestly, you could argue like, oh, it might be, for example, let me go here. Like, for example, oh, it might be Rosa, right? Oh, maybe Rosa is doing something with her daughter. Yeah, she planned all of this, right? But we saw how Rosa treated her daughter there outside, right? When Maria was looking for her Rose, right? She was really getting angry there. So I doubt it though. If ever there was someone who did this, like faked it, I mean, it might be Eva. Eva only, I think. Eva, or maybe Kiri as well. She's very, I guess she's not really a vocal person here, at least until now, right? So maybe she could be suspicious here. Or maybe Eva. All she wants is money, right? A very greedy person. I don't know. I don't have an idea right now.
しかしその鍵は少女の心の奥に堅くなに閉ざされてしまったわ。みんなが頭ごなしに魔女の存在を否定し、一体その人物は誰なのかと問い詰めすぎた。マリアちゃんは当分大人には心を開かないでしょうね。
In the dim hall, in front of the portrait of Beatrice, Maria was sobbing.
誰もね、マリアがベアトリーチェに会ったことを信じてくれない。
Yeah, that's why it's very, very doubtful that Rosa might be involved in this. Because yeah, you cannot control Maria, or you cannot tell her that you need to act like this, okay? The whole trip you need to act like this and pretend that there is something like this. That Beatrice gave you this, etc, etc. I highly doubt that could happen.
ベアトリーチェとくれた手紙も見せたのに、それでも信じてくれないの。
とにかく鍵はマリアちゃんが握ってるわ。ベアトリーチェが18人の中にいるのか19人目なのか、それを知る鍵をね。
マリアは頑固だぜ。あいつへそを曲げるとなかなか機嫌を直さないからな。
大人の私より子供のバトラ君の方が機嫌を直せる確率は高そうよ。彼女の機嫌が直ったら聞いてみて。遺産分配がどうのこうのって話には関心ないけど、こんな王道洋館ミステリーみたいなシチュエーションにはワクワクしちゃわない？
ワクワク。
マリアちゃんに手紙を渡した人物は一体誰なのか。知的好奇心がうずくわ。
Yeah, that is the biggest question though. Who gave Maria-chan the letter and the umbrella? Who did it?
うんざりするような金の話に付き合わされてもワクワクとは実にタフなことだぜ。大人はすげえや。
But yeah, I completely forgot that in what do you call this? This game is right. We have question arcs and answer arcs, so yeah, nothing would really be answered right now, right? So it's gonna take a while since we get the answer, like for real, for real. I shrugged exasperatedly, but I did notice something. Kyrie noticed how dejected I was after overhearing our parents' turbulent discussion, and was probably trying to clear the air. At the very least, I'd recovered enough to voice my complaints. She wasn't my real mom, so I never felt like calling her mom. But it did make me think she's a real adult.
Oh, ガキども、ここにいたのか。
ガキども。
キリエも長え化粧直しじゃねえか。俺も次からは化粧をしてくることにするぜ。
ごめんなさい。女の化粧は長いのよ。どう？兄弟水入らずの話し合いは。
さぞや和気あいあいとしてるだろうよ。
Kyrie poked a weak spot under my arm with her elbow.
一度頭を冷やそうってことで小休止さ。こりゃ夜通しになりそうだぜ。泣けてくれ。
His way of talking hadn't changed, but he couldn't completely hide his fatigue. I couldn't say I was sympathetic, but he looked pitiful compared to his normal energetic self.
しかしひでえ雨だな。ゲストハウスに戻るのも嫌になるぜ。夏日姉さんが屋敷で泊まれるよう準備してくれたらしい。どうする
？3階になった時に考えてもいいんじゃない？部屋に戻る体力もなくなってたら、その時はお世話になりましょうよ。
そうだな。その時に考えりゃいいか。バトラーはどうする？
俺がいちゃお邪魔だろうからよ。気使って向こうに戻るぜ。
そうか。すぐ戻るのか？
さあな。一人で戻ったって寂しいしよ。子供全員で揃って帰ることにするぜ。
そうだな。そうするといい。それでバトラー、お前今夜はそうは簡単には寝ないだろう。
多分いとこたちとおしゃべりしてるだろうからな。夜更かししそうな気配はあるぜ。それがどうかしたのかい？
そうか。もし大人たちの会議が終わってお前がまだ起きてたら、ちょいと家族でしたい話があるんだ。
Okay.
なんだよ。柄にもねえな。
Yeah, like it seems different, right? When he's mentioning it like that. Apparently Kirie-san was thinking the same thing. What are you talking about? She asked him in a small voice. It looked like Kirie-san didn't have a clue what dad meant either.
キリエにも聞いてもらいたい話だ。
Talk to you about it, Kirie.
後で話すから、今は聞くな。頼む。
I don't know anyone who neglects the concept of family as much as this old bastard. And now he's saying we're gonna have to talk as a family. Both Kirie-san and I couldn't help but get wide-eyed.
そうビビった顔すんなよ。
I mean, it's because he's out of character, that's why they're like
ビ
this.
ビりてえのは俺の方なんだ。何しろ。
At that point, he swallowed his words for an instant. Even though putting on airs so important wasn't much like my dad.
気持ち悪いぜ、親父。
Wait, is he getting scared that something might happen now?
今、家族は全員揃ってるじゃねえかよ。
Because of the inheritance, and I guess everyone is gonna be struggling to find the gold. That, the things, the sacrifices, the one that we saw in the epitaph might happen now, right?
もったいぶらずに言えよ。
俺は多分
I'm probably.
今夜殺されるだろうな。
I will probably be killed. See? He's getting nervous now. There was a huge crash of thunder. It must have been really close. I can actually see this though, right? In the tips, if I'm correct. Letter. No, not the letter. This one, the epitaph. On the first twilight, offer the 6 chosen by the key as sacrifices. So yeah. 6 people. Are we gonna see? Maybe next episode, right? I think they're still gonna have a lot of talk here. Or maybe today. We'll see. Dad's expression, brightly illuminated by the lightning, was burned into my eyes. Dad's face, which always looked so sure of itself and which always wore a taunting expression, was strangely frail in a way I couldn't really explain. He was so worn out that he looked like a different person.
は何言ってんだよ、ガラでもね。
同感よ。どうしたの？急に弱気ね。あなたらしくもない。
俺も化粧直しに行ってくる。
Makeup?
ついてくんなよ。
Why are you wearing makeup? You're just with your family. Dad turned away weakly. After that, only Kiri and I were left, still wide-eyed.
なんだってんだ？今夜殺される？まさか、あの妙な手紙のせいで、親父ビビっちまったのか？連続殺人者の映画の見過ぎだぜ。
Kiri-san didn't answer my lighthearted words and continued to stare at my dad's disappearing back.
バトラ君はルドルフさんに今話せと言ったら話さず立ち去った。みんなに話すことがあると言い出しながら答えなかった。
By the way, if there's anyone watching this, actually watching my Let's Play, yeah, if you got any recommendations for, an anime, let's just say an anime, or maybe a game, right? Murder mystery that we can play in the channel, or I'll just watch myself. Yeah, if you can recommend me any of those, I would really appreciate it.
どうして？
Yeah, I want to watch or play something like that soon, I guess.
チェス盤をひっくり返す。
Because of what's happening here.
すると
話すと言っておきながら話せない矛盾。なんすかね。親父側から見ると何か見えてきますか？
ええ、見えるわよ。話したいことがある。でも自分から言い出す勇気がない。
Look at Kyrie's face here.
だから追ってきて俺に話しかけて聞き出してくれが正解ね。ついてくるなも逆の意味よ。ついてきて俺を問い詰めてくれが正解。まったく甘えん坊さんなんだから。
そういう推理でいいんすか？そんなめちゃくちゃな。
名探偵や名刑事が男女の気持ちや心を推理できる？できないでしょ？異性の気持ちを探るのは何次元のトリックを暴くよりはるかに高度な技術なのよ。私に言わせれば名作推理小説より恋愛小説の方がよっぽど難解なミステリーなんだから。
そういうもんすかね。
私はあの甘えん坊さんと一緒にいるわ。普段は虚勢を張ってるけど今夜はかなりの激論で疲れ切ってる。誰かに寄りかかりたい気持ちなんでしょうね。それに応えるのがパートナーの役目よ。
はあ。そりゃお熱いことで。じゃあうちのクソ親父の世話をよろしく頼みますよ。
ええ、任せておいて。
I called out to Kiri-san, supporting back.
え？何？
いや、ありがとよって。おかげで陰鬱な気分がだいぶ晴れたぜ。
ならよかった。コミュニケーションは大事ね。
After answering with a wink, Kiri-san followed after Dad. Natsuhi could be found in a dimly lit hallway. Now and then, the thunder would crash, but this had no effect on Natsuhi's expression. She looked completely worn out. The discussion that had just taken place between the relatives in the dining hall was repeating itself inside Natsuhi's mind. Beatrice had proclaimed that in addition to all the gold, all the inheritance and property of the Oshirimiya family would be given to the person who could solve the riddle. Yes. In other words, she planned to undermine the absolute guarantee that Kraus, as the oldest brother, had to succeed the family head. Originally, the other siblings had absolutely no chance to inherit the headship. To them, this proposal by Beatrice was extremely desirable. It was obvious that they would accept it. But yeah, I just noticed that, yeah. Like, if someone would get it, like a different one, right? For example, Rudolph, yeah, he could take it all for himself, right? I guess, yeah. There was no need to play some clumsy detective game, and Natsuhi knew that this so-called 19th person, Beatrice, couldn't exist. So naturally, Beatrice was nothing more than a fictional character used to pass a message that Kinzo had written himself. As proof, Kinzo had remained stubbornly neutral as to the letter's authenticity, but I do wonder though, right? Who was the one who gave it though? There has to be a person there that actually gave it to Maria, right? Like yeah, Carrie and Butler were talking about it earlier, but I want to see it like right now. He was completely ignoring these reckless claims that he shouldn't be able to ignore, that he had given up the head's ring. In short, Kinzo had wordlessly admitted that the letter held his own message. Most likely one of the servants had given Maria the letter. Kinzo had probably worked out an elaborate plan where the dress from the portrait would be prepared, and someone, probably Shannon, I guess Shannon could be like that because yeah, she's the much more, I think she's she's the youngest girl servant here, would be made to wear it and deliver the letter and the umbrella. By doing that, he could make it seem like the witch from the portrait actually existed. No, if anything, that alone was proof that Kinzo was behind all of this. In that case, it was the same as Kinzo trying to butt in on the siblings' private discussion. Then Kinzo, by announcing that he'd give everything to the person who solved the riddle, could weaken Krause's overwhelming advantage. Now it was certain. Kinzo had eavesdropped on the siblings' discussion in the parlor earlier that day, so he had known how Krause had staved off the attack by the other three. And that's why Rudolph was like, I probably will be killed, right? Because yeah, whoever gets the gold gets everything. It don't matter, right? It don't matter if you're the head, you're the servant, it don't matter. And to make the scales of the battle go back into balance, he had sent out this strange letter which benefited Krause's rivals. He was trying to push his crazy theory so that Rosa, who had a weak position among the siblings because of her age, would join with Eva and Rudolph. Then with a 3-on-1 advantage, they'd be able to overwhelm Krause yet again and make their ridiculous theories get accepted by force. And by doing that, he gave them the power to resettle what had once been a nearly decided conflict. They had now started repeatedly pressing Krause to pay them a large amount of money, using that condition that all of the siblings would guarantee Krause's position as a successor. Talk about advance payments was being brought up again despite being rejected once. Of course, even without the story about the hidden gold, the Oshirimiya family store vault was vast. Yeah, without the gold, it's still a lot. That store vault alone was more than enough. Even if the hidden gold was buried forever along with Kinzo's death, there would be more than enough to satisfy. Therefore, even if they weren't interested in the gold itself, if Kinzo managed to still instill the lifelong fear that on the off chance that someone found the gold, that person would be granted the headship. And this kind of Achilles heel would definitely be taken advantage of by someone sooner or later. The only person with this fatal weakness was a successor, Krause. The other siblings had found... No, they had been told by Kinzo about something that only Krause could lose, and they had thoroughly taken advantage of that. Natsuhi, as Krause's only ally in his painful position, and as his wife, wanted to fight aside alongside him. She kept trying to explain to him that the existence of the gold itself was a farce, and that there was no need for him to compromise. Krause had always told Natsuhi. He had told all of his siblings. He always said that the hidden gold was nothing more than an illusion created by Kinzo. Is it though? Is it? Therefore, Natsuhi had believed it as his wife and had supported her husband on that foundation. Even so, Natsuhi's words didn't reach Krause. Even though Natsui had fought so hard and had lent all of her strength, he continued to fight by himself and was trying to compromise with the other three siblings. Natsui sadly and weakly wondered why she could not be of use to him, and then started getting angry. It had happened when everyone decided to take a short break to cool their heads. Natsui had flared up against Kraus. In rage, she had asked why she could not be useful to him. He then told her that he wanted to talk about something and invited her into a room that she normally was not allowed to enter. That room had been sealed with a heavy-looking padlock, and just looking at it had given her an uncomfortable feeling. Okay?
他の3人の言うことも、ベアトリーチェを名乗る不審人物の言うことも、何も気にかけることはありません。黄金など所詮はお父様が生み出したまやかし。それを見つけられることなどあるわけがない。あなたが跡継ぎであることは盤石です。何を恐れることがあるのです。
Rouse removed the padlock on the door. Okay, let's see what's inside. He then motioned for Natsui to enter.
入りたまえ。
何ですか?
Imagine if that's why it was padlock. Beatrice was inside.
見せたいものがある。
The actual witch is here. There's something I want you to see.
君に初めて見せるものだ。
Okay. What are we gonna see? Natsui timidly opened the door with a dubious expression on her face. It was pitch black. She searched for a switch to turn on the lights, but since this was her first time in the room, she didn't know where it was. Kraus entered behind her, pushing her in, and when he closed the door before turning on the lights, the two were swallowed up by the darkness. Only the sound of Kraus locking the door rang through the dark. Or rang out, I mean.
これは何事ですか? 明かりを。
今つける。待ちたまえ。
Okay. Just as he said, when Kraus pushed a switch on the wall, a flickering light turned on and lit up the room.
それは。
Natsui had her breath taken away. Ooh. The room had no windows, and at a glance it appeared to be empty. In the middle of the room, a small round table had been set, and the lights brightened only that table as if it were the leading part in a play. On top of the table, a red tablecloth of elaborate design had been set out covered with dust. And on top of that, something about the size of a grown man's arm had been set down. Okay. That something took Natsui's breath away. Oh, it is.
凄まじい純度を持つ黄金のインゴットだよ。
It is a gold bar. I told you, man. This guy was just saying it. He was just saying that there was no hidden gold because he knew already that there was hidden gold, right? So he can find it for himself. And then he says it to his siblings, so they get discouraged, right? That, oh, there's no such thing as... how much tons? 10 tons, right? 10 tons of gold. There's no such thing as that. That's not real. But here it is. We got at least one of them. And then we got the crest of the Ushirimiya family as well set there.
こいつがなければ誰も黄金伝説を信じはしなかった。
It was an ingot of solid gold. Even in the faint light, sparkled with a noble and dignified glint.
こいつはまともなインゴットじゃない。このインゴットを鋳造したのが国内なのか国外なのか。
It took a high level of skill to make the purest of solid gold ingots. And in order to verify that purity, it was standard to have the original foundry in the name of the bank that guaranteed it and printed on the gold. However, the ingot did not have that kind of seal. The mysterious gold bar had come from an unknown foundry.
ここを見たまえ。怯えることはない。こいつはただの金塊だ。
Natsui, following Kraus's words, timidly approached the ingot.
そこだ。
Kraus pointed at the surface of the ingot. Natsui concentrated on that section. Is that the crest? right there was the thin imprint of the one-winged eagle crest. Natsui's breath was taken away once again.
そうだよ。これこそが親父がベアトリーチェに与えられたといい、保証人のマルソーの会長に任意で一つを抜き取らせて持ち帰らせ。
But at least though they showed us a picture of it. I thought, yeah, at least they showed us an art of it, I mean. Because yeah, in Higurashi sometimes they would not show anything. Right, they would just describe it to you.
財界のフィクサーたちを信用させたという伝説のインゴットなのだよ。方々に手を尽くして私が見つけた。他の兄弟たちより早くね。
そんな。じゃあ、お父様の黄金伝説は
実在する。
He's admitting it now. It actually exists.
後宮金蔵が授けられたベアトリーチェの黄金は実在するのだよ。
そんな。本当にあるなんて。
Natsuhi was shocked. Krause had always said that Kinzo's gold was just a fabrication, so she had believed it as his wife. However, the reality was different. Since he held definite proof, he had been more certain than any of the other siblings that the legend of the gold was true. Because of this, Krause was deeply frightened at the possibility that someone other than himself would find the gold and he'd failed to find, costing him everything. But to Natsuhi, this truth was more than enough to split open her heart. She had thought that as Krause's wife, she should be his closest confidant, which is why she had selflessly supported him. And yet, he had hid this fact from her until today. Why?
そこまでに私はあなたの信頼に足りないというのですか?
Yeah, Natsuhi was already like this inferiority complex, and her husband is not even trusting her, right?
そういうつもりはない。話す必要がなかっただけだ。
あなたにとっては妻はその程度のものなのですか?
落ち着きたまえ。劇場にすぐ駆られるのは君の悪い癖だ。
あなたがそうさせてるんじゃないですか? 私は後宮家に嫁ぎ、今日まであなたの妻として仕えてきました。
But yeah, Natsuhi is a very, I guess, a very, very loyal member of the family. Like, she's doing everything, right, to be accepted, basically, right?
あなたのために生まれた家を捨て、身も心も捧げてお仕えしてきました。
So that's why, remember when they first introduced her, right? She was getting angry at Shannon because she wants everything to be perfect, right? Especially now with the other family members here, right? She wants to be accepted as one of them.
その報いがこれなんですか? そんなことって。
So yeah, this really hurt her though. Her own husband didn't trust her enough to show this gold bar back then. Only right now when things are getting heated, right? Krause grimaced, looking annoyed. His expression effectively communicated how much he disliked this part of Natsuhi, even if he didn't say it aloud.
私はもうあなたの力になれそうもありません。
うん、それでいい。
That's fine.
兄弟のトラブルを私が自分の力で解決する。
I mean, yeah, the reason it hurt Natsuhi right now is because Krause only is saying this to her because he needs an ally, right? If he didn't need any of that, he would never have told Natsuhi about this, right? So it hurts in a sense, right?
君の力は借りんよ。
I don't need your help. Jesus.
違います。これは後宮家のトラブルです。確かに私にはこの身に家紋を刻むことが許されていません。
But honestly though, if you're the head of a family, man, you should have what do you call this? Forced your father. This is my wife. Why can't you wear the crest, right? Why?
でもあなたの妻です。
Because yeah, he's the successor basically.
なのに私には力添えする資格もないのですか？あなた。
But yeah, I guess for him, just like what Eva was saying, right? Natsuhi is just what do you call this? A wife to have heirs with, basically. That's it. Yes.
君を思えばこそあえて関わらせなかったのだ。これ以上は頭痛に触るだろう。
And she got headache, so
君は今夜はこれで休みたまえ。
so it's gonna get much more worse because of this.
兄弟の話は兄弟でつける。君は関係ない。それだけだ。
A dull headache tormented Natsuhi. No matter what medicine she took, no matter what scent she burned, it wouldn't heal. In fact, simply wandering alone through the dark corridors and listening to the sound of the rain seemed to be a better cure. I may be Natsuhi, but I was never Oshiromiya Natsuhi. I have been despised and treated as a borrowed womb. There we go, a borrowed womb. And insulted when I couldn't even fill that role. Even so, I have tried to properly perform my duties as a wife, but now even my husband has rejected me. I've done my best raising my daughter as if it were the last job left to me. However, I had no release from my anger and sadness, and they caused me to subconsciously strain that relationship too. Because I've been excessively strict in Jessica's education, she dislikes me thoroughly. She despises me for having no interest in anything but grades. There is no longer anything I can do for the Oshiromiya family. And that's no good. Despite it all, I must help my husband and beat back the schemes of the other greedy siblings. The family head won't be around much longer. Eventually, Krause will succeed the head, and the next successor will be Jessica. Strictly speaking, the man who enters a family by marrying Jessica will become the next head, but it all comes to the same thing. I have to make Jessica an excellent successor, whom everyone will accept as worthy to take over the Oshiromiya family. In the days to come, that greedy Oshiromiya Eva will probably be plotting to find some fault within the main family. And if it all goes as she plans, Jessica will be dragged down from the succession, with George set up into her place. But I guess though, right? Because they were talking about it last time? But yeah, Eva had a child first, and it was male. It was George, right? So basically a perfect successor right there. And then when Natsuhi had a child much later, a couple of years later, and a daughter instead, right? It is regrettable, but George is a man, and even more, has matured as a person. Like if you look at it, I mean, even though if Kinzo said that George is not that good, right? He is good. He is very mature when it comes to like serious talks and stuff like that, right? Unlike Jessica, right? Yeah, look at this. Compared to Jessica, who is right in the middle of her rebellious period and whose grades are slightly below average, it can be seen at a glance he is more fit to succeed as the head. So in order to secure Jessica's position, I need to turn her into an excellent person. Yes. She needs to be much more serious, or else Eva will be coming for them. After doing that, I want to find her an excellent husband, worthy of the excellent person she will have become. A wonderful man who will truly accept Jessica and stay with her through all of life's joys and sorrows. Was Natsui trying to entrust her daughter with fulfilling some desire of her own? Natsui thought back to the days when she had no choice but to marry into the Oshiromiya family because of that unavoidable fate. Unavoidable fate, okay. She had tried to block that from her memory. She had constantly forgotten it and had actively ascended to the life she'd been given as Oshiromiya Natsui. Okay, I want to see that though. They better show it to us. And in doing so, she had built up a new life. But just now, it felt like all of that had been casually rejected.
何を考えて生きていけばいいのかわからない。
Natsui helplessly rested her head against the glass of the window. The glass, which was cool thanks to the raindrops beating against it, felt somehow refreshing. Even though it should have been emotionless right then, it seemed to be the only thing that could understand Natsui. At that point, even if someone had appeared, Natsui didn't intend to pay any attention to them. But she did pay attention, because it was her beloved daughter, Jessica.
母さんか。
Okay, so I guess we'll take a break here for now. Damn, now we actually see the gold bar, right? We actually see it, and it is real. I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see, or yeah, when we find it, right? The actual, for example, where it was hidden, like all of it. Yeah, I doubt they're gonna show it in this first episode, first chapter of Umineko. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But I didn't realize though, right, that in Higurashi, like the big family there had Mion, right, as a successor. I mean, I guess in this one it's Kraus, a male, but Jessica is next in line. Oh yeah, basically like in Higurashi as well. No, because yeah, Mion's grandma was still alive, right? And I mean, I guess because Kinzo's still alive in here. But what I'm saying is Jessica and the Mion are the same, yes. Successor. Both of them are successors to their family, right? So that's pretty cool. But Mion is much more mature though, when you compare it to Jessica, right? When it really comes to becoming serious in situations, Mion she's really good when it comes to that, right? I guess she's like George when it comes to that, right? But then again, we haven't seen George like in super situations or super intense situations. I'm just assuming as how we look at George, how he's presented all the time, how he talks, right? But we'll see. Who knows, right? Maybe in other situations, George would kind of falter, right? He would stop. He would not do anything. He would not say anything, right? So when we reach that part of, I guess, the story, we will see how George reacts to all kinds of different stuff, right? But because right now, yeah, stuff is going on, but it's just heating up right now. It's nothing has really like happened yet, right? It's just starting right now. It's just starting, right? So we'll see. But I did enjoy this one. Talk with Kirie earlier there with Butler was a nice conversation, and then talking about a 19th person, maybe, right? Maybe here in this place, maybe not. Who knows, right? And this one with Natsui and her husband here. So yeah, we are gonna continue this and do more of Umineko When They Cry in the next one. So I'll just see you then, guys. Bye bye.